You're standing in a field at 11:30 at night, somewhere in rural Georgia, and the only light comes from the headlights of pickup trucks parked in a half circle around a clearing you did not know existed until 40 minutes ago. There are 19 men here, some of them you recognize from church. One of them sold you a used lawnmower last spring. None of them are using their real names tonight, and neither are you. This is level 1, the ghoul. A man they call the Clued stands in front of a wooden cross wrapped in burlap, soaked in kerosene. He is holding a Bible in one hand and a lighter in the other, and he asks you a series of questions that feel like they were written in 1867, because they were. Do you believe in the tenets of the Christian religion? Do you esteem the United States of America and its institutions above all other governments? Are you a native-born white citizen? Will you faithfully practice the principles of pure Americanism? You answer yes to everything. Around you, men in white robes stand in a circle with their left arms extended toward the cross, and the Clud lights it. The burlap catches fast, and the flames climb 8 feet into the air in under 10 seconds, throwing orange light across every face in the clearing, and someone starts singing a hymn you have not heard since childhood. The heat pushes against your chest from 15 feet away, and the smoke smells like fuel and pine tar and something else you cannot identify. You are told to kneel. A man called the Exalted Cyclops places his hand on your shoulder and tells you that from this moment forward, the secrets of this order are sealed in your blood. He says that violation means consequences that no earthly court can deliver, and that the bond you are entering is older than the government that claims authority over it. You sign a card, you pay $10. Someone hands you a folded white robe and a hood that smells like mothballs and storage. You are now a ghoul, which is what they call the rank and file, and your claver number is stitched onto the inside lining of your robe in red thread. For the first 3 months, you do nothing but attend meetings. They happen every other Thursday in a barn on a property owned by a man whose day job is running a feed store on Route 17. The meetings are part prayer service, part political rally, part complaint session. Men talk about their jobs, their taxes, their neighborhoods. They talk about a black family that moved into a house on Claremont Road and how property values will collapse within 18 months. They talk about a county commissioner who is soft on integration and how someone needs to challenge him in the next cycle. There is coffee, there is sometimes pie. It feels disturbingly like a church social with an undercurrent of something that has not yet shown its teeth. Then one night, after a meeting, the Nighthawk pulls you aside and tells you to stay. The Nighthawk is the chapter's enforcer and courier, a man named Dalton who works at the county assessor's office during the day and has forearms like bridge cables. He tells you there is a ride tonight and that you have been selected. He does not explain what a ride is. He tells you to get in the truck. This is level 2, the Nighthawk's crew. There are 5 of you in 2 vehicles, and Dalton is driving the lead truck with a 12-foot wooden cross, lying flat in the bed, pre-wrapped in fuel-soaked rags. Nobody speaks during the 20-minute drive except to confirm the address. You arrive at a house on a rural road outside of town, a single-story home with a porch light on and a child's bicycle in the front yard. A black family lives here, a family that filed a complaint with the county housing office about being denied a mortgage on a property in a historically white neighborhood. You know this because Dalton told you. And you know Dalton got the address from someone inside the county clerk's office who attends meetings on alternate Thursdays. 2 men pull the cross from the truck bed and drive it into the front lawn with a sledgehammer while you stand at the road keeping watch. Dalton lights it. The flames reach full height in under a minute, and the porch light inside the house goes off, which means someone is now standing at a darkened window watching their front yard burn. Nobody says a word. You are back in the truck and driving away within 4 minutes of arrival, and the only sound is the engine and the gravel under the tires and your own heartbeat hammering in the back of your throat. You do 3 more rides over the next 5 months. Each one is faster, more efficient, more routine. The second one is a cross-burning outside a church. The third is a brick through the window of a black-owned barbershop at 2 in the morning. The fourth is something worse. You are told to hold someone down, while Dalton delivers a message with his fists in a parking lot behind a Piggly Wiggly. The man on the ground is a white civil rights organizer from Ohio who has been registering black voters in the county, and when Dalton is done, the man cannot stand. You drive home and sit in your driveway for 45 minutes before you go inside, and your wife asks why you are late, and you say you were helping Dalton with his truck, and she believes you, because why would she not? The thing about crossing lines is that each one feels slightly less solid than the last. Dalton gets transferred for his day job 8 months later, and the Exalted Cyclops asks if you want to take over the Nighthawk role. You say yes. You tell yourself you are keeping things controlled, that without you, the crew would be worse. You tell yourself a lot of things that year. This is level 3, the Exalted Cyclops. 14 months after your initiation, the sitting Cyclops, a man named Harold who runs an auto body shop on the east side of town, has a heart attack at 53 and steps down. The Clavern votes. You win by 11 votes to 6. You are now the leader of a chapter of 31 dues-paying members in a county of 19,000 people. And your responsibilities include presiding over meetings, initiating new recruits, managing the chapter's finances, and deciding when and where the wrecking crew rides. The finances are simple. Each member pays $6.80 annually, plus the $10 initiation fee for new recruits. 80% goes to state and national leadership. You keep the rest, which amounts to roughly $400 a year, barely enough to cover the cost of meeting space and materials. Nobody does this for the money, but the power is different. You discover that 3 of your members are in positions that matter. One is a dispatcher at the county sheriff's office. One works at the local newspaper and can suppress stories or amplify them. One is a corrections officer at the state prison 40 minutes south, and he has access to information about parolees, addresses, movements. This is the infrastructure that nobody outside sees. It is not dramatic. It is a phone call at 9 in the morning asking about a license plate. It is a story that never runs. It is a heads up that a federal investigator asked questions at the courthouse last Tuesday. You preside over your first initiation on a Saturday night in October. 17 new recruits stand in a field while you read from the Quran, the ritual book, and the cross burns behind you, and the hymns rise, and you feel something you cannot name, something between authority and dread. One of the recruits is a 22-year-old kid who works at the gas station, and he is shaking, and you remember what it felt like to stand where he is standing, and you cannot tell if the shaking is fear or excitement or both. You run the chapter for 2 years. In that time, you authorize 9 rides, 2 assaults, and a firebombing of an unoccupied civil rights office that makes the local paper as a suspected electrical fire. You develop a relationship with a deputy sheriff named Schofield, who attends meetings in plain clothes and never wears a robe, but provides advance notice when outside law enforcement ask questions about Klan activity in the county. Schofield is your insurance policy. He tells you when to be quiet and when you have room to move. In return, you ensure that your chapter stays off his desk. Then one night, Schofield tells you something that changes everything. He says a man named Marcus, who joined your chapter 4 months ago, who passed every vetting question, who rode with the crew twice and never flinched, is an FBI informant. Schofield does not explain how he knows this. He just says the name and waits. You do not sleep that night. You sit in the dark of your living room and think about every meeting Marcus attended, every word spoken in his presence, every ride he was on. You think about the firebombing and whether he was wearing a wire. You think about your children sleeping in the next room. This is level 4, the GrandDragon. The Cyclops seat becomes too hot after the Marcus situation, and the state leadership moves you up. You are now the GrandDragon of a 3-state realm, overseeing 11 chapters and roughly 400 members, and your job is no longer to burn crosses or plan rides. Your job is to manage the men who do. You hold quarterly gatherings called Cloreros on private land. Sometimes 200 members from across the region standing in a field while you speak from a platform draped in white. You talk about heritage and sovereignty and the preservation of a way of life. You do not talk about the rides or the firebombings or the assaults, because at this level, the violence is something that happens beneath you, authorized in whispers and carried out by men whose names you may or may not know. This is how the organization protects itself. Each level knows just enough to function, and not enough to collapse the entire structure if one person talks. But people are talking. The FBI's counterintelligence program has been running operations against the Klan since 1964, and you can feel it. Chapters that had 40 members 2 years ago are down to 15. Meetings that used to feel energized now feel paranoid. Men who shook your hand last month are not answering their phones. The Bureau is sending fake letters to chapter leaders accusing other leaders of embezzlement. They are spreading rumors that the Grand Titan in Alabama is a federal asset. They are mailing postcards to the wives of known members with just enough information to start questions that cannot be answered. You receive a phone call from a Cyclops in a rural county who tells you that 2 of his crew members were arrested 30 minutes after a ride, which means someone in the car was feeding real-time information to law enforcement. He wants to know what to do. You tell him to shut down operations for 60 days, because that is what you tell everyone now. Shut down, go quiet, wait. But quiet does not stop the bleeding. Over the next 18 months, your realm loses 160 members. 3 chapters dissolve entirely. 2 Cyclops are indicted on federal conspiracy charges, and their trials produce testimony from informants who describe meetings, rides, and plans with a specificity that means they were taking notes or wearing wires or both. You sit in a courtroom gallery and watch a man you recruited describe your organizational structure to a federal prosecutor with the calm precision of someone who has been rehearsing for months, and you realize that the circle you built was never a circle. It was a sieve. This is level 5, the reckoning. They come for you on a Tuesday morning at 6:15. 3 unmarked sedans and a van. 11 federal agents in windbreakers with 3 letters on the back. Your wife is making breakfast and your daughter is watching cartoons in the living room, and you hear the knock and you know before you open the door exactly what is happening because you have been waiting for it for 7 months. The charges are conspiracy to violate civil rights, conspiracy to commit arson, and obstruction of justice. Your attorney tells you the government has 4 cooperating witnesses, 2 of whom you trusted with your life. The evidence includes recordings, surveillance photographs, financial records showing dues, payments routed through a post office box you set up in 1970 under a name that is not your own. You spend 11 months in a federal detention facility before trial. The jumpsuit is orange. The cell is 8 feet by 10 feet. The fluorescent lights buzz at a frequency that gets inside your skull and stays there. Your wife visits twice a month and says less each time, and your daughter draws pictures that she slides under the plexiglass, and you tape them to the cinder block wall above your bunk, and you stare at them at night and wonder when exactly you became this person. The trial lasts 3 weeks. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. Guilty on 2 of 3 counts. The judge sentences you to 12 years. You serve 8. When you get out, you are 51 years old. Your wife filed for divorce in year 3. Your daughter is in college, in a state she chose specifically because it is far from yours. The clavern you built does not exist anymore. The county has changed. The feed store on Route 17 is a subway. The field where you knelt and took an oath by Firelight is now a housing development with a homeowners association and a community pool. You get a job at a warehouse. You rent an apartment. You eat alone most nights. The tattoo on your forearm, the one you got at 26 when you thought it meant something, is now a thing you cover with long sleeves in the summer and explain to no one. You tell yourself you were fighting for something. You tell yourself the world changed and you were on the wrong side of the change, but that does not make your beliefs wrong. You tell yourself these things at 2 in the morning when you cannot sleep, and the silence in the apartment is louder than any hymn you ever sang in a field surrounded by fire. The fields grew over. The robes ended up in FBI evidence boxes and museum displays behind glass. But last December, in a town in Mississippi you have never heard of, a man who was not even born when you took your oath carried 2 planks of lumber into his front yard at midnight and lit them on fire. He had never read the Quran. He had never sung a hymn in a clearing. He did not need to.